Alright, babes, here I am recording. This is very DIY. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I really want to make this video, and so I am so excited to find my autumnal TBR for this year, because I have to be honest, I have my cute little mushroom mug here, but I have to be honest with you that I haven't read that many books this year, and I'm very disappointed. And so I wanted to give you a list of books. I need help on what to read this autumnal season, because I just moved countries, so I moved to Romania. Apologize for the very 2006 camera. I'm trying something different, and this is very DIY, and I'm trying to get rid of the ads, and I just don't know how to get rid of them, and I'm not really bothered to get rid of them. Just wanted to get my pumpkin and mushroom in the back so you can see. So that's definitely the books that I'm going to read. And then the book TBR is books that I'm obviously just going to have on my TBR. And then Might Collect Dust is books that I want to read, but I probably won't. And this happens to most of us, I know. Rather Drink Wine is a book that I'm not very interested in reading, and I would rather just have a glass of wine instead. And the last one, Belongs in the Abyss, because it should. That means it's bad. That means it's really bad. So I have a list of books here that I found online, and let's go through them together. First one, we're going to go through this one. So this is Anne Radcliffe, The Italian. The Italian, or The Confessional of the Black... Synopsis, babes. I'm looking for a synopsis. From the first moment, Vincentiro di I can't. A young nobleman sets eyes on the veiled figure of Elena. He is captivated by her beauty and grace, but his haughty and manipulative mother is against the match and enlists the help of her confessor to come with them. Shidoni, previously a leading figure of the Inquisition, is a demonic scheming monk with no qualms about the task, whether it entails abduction, torture, or even murder. The Italian secured Anne Radcliffe's position as the leading writer of Gothic romance of the age for its atmosphere of supernatural and nightmarish horrors, combined with her evocation of sublime landscapes and chilling narrative. Now, I've heard that Anne Radcliffe is like the OG Gothic writer, so this book sounds really exciting. I actually do really want to read this one. This one might just be like the OG. So this is gonna be top tier. So we can see here Edgar Allan Poe. He has written some fantastic works, and I've read quite a few of his horror stories and poetry. I don't know, I'm just gonna add it to my TBR. Right, so the next one is Crime and Punishment. This right here, so I do have a physical copy of Crime and Punishment. It looks a little bit intimidating to read. A desperate young man plans the perfect crime, the murder of a despicable pawnbroker, an old woman no one loves and no one will mourn. Is it not just, he reasons, for a man of genius to commit such a crime, to transgress moral law, if it will ultimately benefit humanity? So begins one of the greatest novels ever written, a powerful psychological study, a terrifying murder mystery, a fascinating detective thriller infused with philosophical, religious, and social commentary. I can't read this name. Raskolnikov, an impoverished student living in a garret in the gloomy slums of St. Petersburg, carries out his grotesque scheme and plunges into a hell of persecution, madness, and terror. Crime and Punishment takes the reader on a journey into the darkest recesses of the criminal and depraved mind, and exposes the soul of a man possessed by both good and evil, a man who cannot escape his own conscience. This is top tier. I have to read this. This is literally the OG. So this is definitely going to go at the top. I'm definitely going to read this one. Okay, so next one, The Unworthy. I actually have a physical copy of this one as well, so I probably will read this one. It's an interesting one because I've already read I think 25-30 pages of it. And it is really unhinged. Catholic guilt or something. I put this my TBR. Next one is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. I also have a physical. I got this one when I was in Seattle. Really nice cover. I really love how this one feels. Don't you just love a floppy book? I want to read it because it has to do with London. So I lived in London for quite some time, and any book that references London or anything with London, I just love it so much. So this one mentions specifically Hampstead, so I am a big fan. On a moonlit road in Hampstead, Walter Hartwright is accosted by a stranger dressed from head to toe in white. She asks the way to London, and no sooner has Walter directed her than he is overtaken by a carriage in pursuit of the mysterious woman who has evidently escaped from an asylum. From a single incident, Walter unwinds a thrilling story of abduction, madness, false identity, and shameful family secrets. The Woman in White, written in 1860, is both a Victorian sensation novel and a detective story. Whatever I put in the top tier, I have to read it. Okay, so next one is Florence Welch, Useless Magic. So the reason why I chose this one is because it's like a poetry book, and I've read quite a few poetry books. The worst one I read was Lana Del Rey's poetry book. Lana Del Rey is such a queen. She is amazing with her lyricism and whatnot, but specifically the aesthetics and just how the whole poetry book was laid out. So bad. And so I'm hoping that this one won't be as bad. But I keep saying that I'm gonna read it, and I keep adding it to my Amazon cart, and I never actually purchase it because it's 20 quid. But I do want to read it though. Okay, that'll go in my TBR, but I don't think I'll read it. Anyways, next book is The Monk. Let me look up the synopsis for that. The story revolves around a devoted monk, Ambrosio, who is tempted to break his sacred vows when a young man, Rosario, reveals that he is a woman, also known as Matilda, and comes into the monastery and disguises herself as a monk to become closer to him. That's actually quite scandalous for a book of that age. I actually didn't know it was about that. That sounds really interesting. This was written in 1796. It's 400 pages. But I really want to read this one because I heard so many good things about it. To be honest, I don't think I'll read the Italian. I think I'll read The Monk instead. Next one is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I really got hyped about this one after watching Gavin Reads It All. He's a great YouTuber. If you haven't watched his videos, I highly recommend. He's incredible. He went to Sleepy Hollow and really inspired me to read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. So I'm really excited to pick this one up. Ichabod Crane, who competes against Brom Bones, a local prankster farmer, for the hand of Katrina Van Tassel. One night after a party, Crane heads home only to be followed by what he thinks is a legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Headless Horseman. I just love the creepy, spooky vibes of this book. It is everything. I watched The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Disney adaptation, when I was a kid, and it terrified the boots out of me. Like, I was so scared watching that film. That's probably why I never read it, because it was so terrifying. But I'm actually really stoked about this book. I really wanted to read this one, so that one's gonna be on the top. I don't think Sleepy Hollow is that thick of a book as well. I think it's actually quite short. That one is top tier. Yeah, I'm definitely reading this one. Next book is Dracula Park by Dana Gringorcia. This book I've actually wanted to read for a whole year. My new thing is just to read how many pages, because honestly, I don't think I'm going to read Crime and Punishment, The Woman in White, The Monk. That's like 1,200 pages, all of them together. That's like insane. Dracula Park, a plot to sink your teeth into. Winner of the Swiss Book Prize, nominated, sorry, it's 2 a.m. Nominated for the German Book Prize. In post-communist Romania, on the border with Transylvania, the sleepy town of B is losing its young people to the west. When a mutilated corpse is discovered in the family crypt of Prince Vlad the Impaler, known as Dracula, the mayor plans a vampire-themed amusement park. But this will be the kiss of death for the place and its people. A breathtaking, atmospheric tale of revenge, extremism, and longing for a strong, cruel leader buried deep in the human consciousness. This one sounds amazing. I actually am so excited to read this one. To ship anything to Romania, it's like 20 quid. So maybe I should just go book hunting for it. Just try to find it in a local bookstore, might be better. Dracula Park. Am I actually gonna read it though? I don't think I am. Might collect dust. Right, so next we have this book, La Basse by J. King Hassman. At its center is Dirtle, a writer obsessed with the life of one of the blackest figures in history. Giles, the legendary crimes, trial, and confession of this grotesque 15th century sadist unfolds in episode after horrifying episode. Mystical thematic threads connect this greatest of all revealers in evil and Dirtle's own passionate pursuit, the reflection of a religious quest that was led to, I can't read this name, Hamans, from uncertain agnosticism back to Catholicism. Dirtle, the mouthpiece of a strange personality, leads a hermit-like existence clustered from his fashionable contemporaries. Surrounding him are others equally cut off, sharing a nostalgic longing for the Middle Ages. It's about a writer becomes obsessed with the life of a notorious 15th century child murderer, horrible person type of thing. I got this recommended from, was it Instagrammer online, and she is a fantastic Instagrammer. I love her content. She recommended this one, so I'm kind of like doing this blindly. This one I don't know if I'll read it. I don't have the physical copy, but I might order it online. I'll just add it to my book TBR. Thankfully, I don't have any books that I'm absolutely gonna hate, that I'm not gonna read, so that's good news. Next is Stephen King. I've never read a Stephen King book in my life because it's not really my type of genre. I don't like reading horror. I'm not really into, I've never really been into it. Stephen King, so this one's called Salem's Lot. Vampire novel. Salem's Lot follows a writer who returns to his hometown only to discover it's overtaken by vampires. This deluxe special edition features deleted scenes from the original manuscript, this is just telling about the book. I want to know the synopsis. When two young boys venture into the woods and only one returns alive, Mears begins to realize that something sinister is at work. In fact, his hometown is under siege from forces of darkness far beyond his imagination, and only he, with a small group of allies, can hope to contain the evil that is growing within the borders of this small New England town. This one sounds like top tier. Next one, but I'll read the synopsis. A wretched young man, an outcast in the world, tells the story of his upbringing by a heretical Calvinist minister who leads him to believe that he is the elect, predestined for salvation and thus above the moral law. Falling under the spell of a mysterious stranger who bears an uncanny likeness to himself, he embarks on a career as a serial killer. Robert Wingman's memoirs are presented. Wait, that's about the editor. That sounds interesting. The private memoirs and confessions of a justified sinner. So I think, yeah, the reason why I put this one up is because somebody said it was giving autumnal Catholic guilt vibes. I don't think I'll read this one. It might collect dust. Yeah. So the last book that I have on here is like, an illuminated picture manuscript. So this one is not really, it's like a picture book, really. It's not really like a novel. So I don't even know why it qualifies to be on here, but I found it at the thrift shop. I'm adding it to my cart and I am absolutely reading this one. Okay, so that looks like my tier ranking list for books that I want to read for the season. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And please do leave down below in the comments what books you are reading this season. I have until, I would say, the end of November to read these books. A lot of these I have to buy because I don't actually own the physical copies, except for these two. That was very fun to do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. À bientôt. Au revoir.